Well, hello there, Centre for Effective Living community. This is Valerie Ling, clinical psychologist, coming to you live, slightly impromptu Facebook Live video today, prompted by a couple of questions and discussions that I've been having with friends about screen time. So I'm just going to share this now to our pages, our clinic pages, and hopefully that'll work. It's a bit of an experiment at the moment for me to see if I can figure out how to do a Facebook Live from this page and share it into our clinic page. Share on a page you manage. Yes, post. All right, so let's talk about screen time. The interesting thing is, when I was training to do my master's, I don't know, maybe close to 20 years ago, I was actually interested in social media technology. Back then, the only thing that we had were blogs, right? And hi, thanks for joining me live. If you're there, just give me an indication, so that I know that you're there. Or maybe you might have some issues with screen time at your home, and if you have any questions, feel free to post it down. So in my master's program, I was quite fascinated then by, they had chat rooms, do you remember that? And also what was becoming emergent was blogs. And I thought, this is really fascinating, because what people are actually doing is having online chats, not face-to-face chats, and they're also writing about their thoughts and feelings and pretty personal stuff for the world to see. And I was fascinated by that, and actually did my thesis on the very groovy title of Internet Use and Well-Being. Now, at that time, it all seemed very cutting edge. I could claim in my master's thesis that there wasn't a lot of research out there, and that this was a really fresh perspective to have a look to see how internet use was going to impact well-being. Of course, fast forward to about 20 years down the line, and social media and internet use is part of even toddlers' lives, let alone grown-ups and adults. So it's a pretty big deal. And I think the jury is still not out as to what are the long-term implications. So the best that we can do it as parents with our children is to tap into our core parenting vision for our children, right? I often say that when it comes to these sorts of issues of, can we do this? Should we do this? What's the rule? What's the guidelines? Well, to a large part, you've got to tap into your own vision and mission statements for your children. So with social media, for example, tapping into, when you fast forward to your child as an adult, when you send them off into adulthood, whatever that age might be, what sort of individuals do you want to see as adults? What sort of communication do you want to see from them? What do you want to see for them in terms of the way that they handle their social networks, their friendships and their relationships? And in terms of thinking about their personality and their needs, what do you actually see for them as an adult? What does it look like for them? Will they prefer to be in sporting activities? Are they more the one-on-one sort? Do they need some, do they actually thrive in being a part of projects and activities? Have all of that in your mind, because when you have a vision for who you want your child to be and the kinds of qualities and skills that you want them to have as an adult, it helps you then to tap in to your goals and values as you backtrack to what it looks like when they're 13, what it looks like when they're 5, and what it looks like when they're 3. So that's the first thing I would suggest that you do, is to actually just look at the whole picture of what you want to see of them as a social being. Okay. Then I'm going to say right now, if you are in the midst of battling with how much screen time is 1 hour, is 2 hours, weekdays, weekends, okay, hold up. As human beings, we've got to answer the kids' question of what's in it for me. If I'm going to drop the stuff, what's going to come into that void? Okay. And so my first tip is create a technology community hub in your home. Have a space in your home where the idea is not that that's where all the technology is held hostage and prison and you must dock it there. That's a good thing to have, technology out of the rooms, but make it into a bit of a communal technology hub space. In the same space that the phone lives and the tablet lives, also make it a space where the family comes together and participates in technology. You might play games together as a family using technology. You might decide to surf the internet together as a family, answering the latest day's wiki questions. You might have a wind down station using technology. Yes, what does that mean? Music streaming as a family. So what you're actually doing is you're actually accepting and acknowledging technology as part of the everyday mainstream currency that kids are trading and using in, but you're actually giving them a communal space to do it with you. Tip 1. The second tip is swap out the dinosaurs. Okay, our kids are actually growing up as technology and social media natives. We can't be afraid of it. We've got to embrace it. So my second tip is let them teach you in the communal space. Bring it all out there. Whatever it is that they're using. I can't even name all of the stuff these days, right? Let them show you how it works. Be a part of it. You might even want to create a family account for some of the social media stuff so that they have a role to say, okay, I'm going to invite Uncle Bob, Aunt Lucy, and cousin Stacy from all over the world into a family Facebook page, let's say, and put your child in charge of it and say, okay, you're going to walk us through. You're going to show us how to do it. And then schedule some time in the week where the family comes together and they are using social media and teaching you and showing you how to connect with the world. That's my second tip. My third tip is start the way you want to finish. Start the way you want to finish. If your child is 10 now, picture them when they're 16. Do you want the mobile phones and the tablets in the room? Do you want to have access like on tap? Finish the way that you want, start the way that you want to finish. And here's my passion about the social media issue. We don't know enough yet about the impact of what it's going to be. But as parents, one thing hasn't changed with regard to social media, and that is we still have the ability to protect our children, right? When the kids come home from school and they're in your house and the doors are shut and the fence gates are closed, we've got a sense of security that we've taught them how to actually interact with strangers should someone ring the doorbell. We need to teach them those things first so that they can transfer that social wisdom, that social guidelines into their interactions in the World Wide Web, in social media. And so my final tip is to say, stages of development. How are your children traveling in terms of knowing how to interact with strangers? How are your children going with being able to interact with peers in a way that they can actually be socially minded, where they know how to take turns, where they know how their language, how to use language? How are your children going in terms of having intuition and instincts about when it's not safe for them in the real world? Cement those things first, because when those things are cemented, they will probably transfer to the way that they also interact online with peers. So I guess that's what I wanted to say, is when you're interacting with screen time, it's so easy to be anxious and just come down like a ton of bricks with all the rules and the guidelines, and then we remove the stuff from them and then they go, ah! First, put some good stuff in, yeah? Have some social media and technology time in the family that is stress-free and enjoyable for everybody. And then have a look and see start the way that you want to finish. Have a look at the way that technology is being used in the house, in the rooms, in the everyday life, and figure out whether there are some real-time skills that could still be looked at, and then create those opportunities for everyday real-time interactions so that you have the confidence to know that because they're actually managing those interactions well and smoothly in real time, that they can transfer that into their virtual relationships. Have a great day.